everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the book reviews. Okay, so the latest book I've finished reading now is a book called Stormy Weather. It by a author by the name of Carl Hiaason. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce his name, but this book was actually given to me by Joe, and he wanted me to read it. It took me a while to get around to reading it. I had some other books going at the time, some really long ones. But yeah, so I got in to read this, and he gave this to me actually when he thought maybe he was going to be going away back to Ontario for a while, and it didn't end up happening. But before he left, because he was going to be a little while, he gave me this book called Stormy Weather, and he said I would enjoy the, because he knew how I wrote, so he thought that he said that I would enjoy the writing, like he thought that I would enjoy the dialogue and the writing of this author. So definitely this is an interesting book. It takes place in Florida, and basically it's kind of a fictional storm. It's not based on one of the actual storms that goes on, but basically this is almost like an end of the world storm that goes on in Florida, and all kinds of these different shenanigans happen between a guy that gets kidnapped while trying to photograph the storm, to then his wife ending up then falling in love with the kidnapper and running off with him, as well as those two and a whole bunch of other people getting involved in this heavy-duty insurance scam, trying to scam these people out of claiming that they're roofers or something for this job. And it ends up, it all ends up basically, to make a long story short, there's all these different little connections that go on with the people, but it ends up becoming quite the gong show. And it's sort of like one of those things where everything's connected, like all these people end up having some sort of interaction with each other at some point in the book. And it starts off quite lighthearted, and even though even some of the heavier stuff that goes on, it's done pretty comical, it's done pretty lighthearted, and then I'd say about midway through the book, about around here, it starts to get darker, and then it just keeps getting darker and darker until the end of the book. And I will say I enjoyed the beginning of the book more than the middle and the end. I liked the lightheartedness, I liked the humor, I liked the comedy of it rather than it being super serious, but it also makes sense from a writing perspective that it would turn out the way that it did. It only makes sense with the story that they had set up in the beginning. And yeah, basically it was a really fun read. It was something I would have probably never came across otherwise, or never thought of reading. So yeah, it was definitely worth my time to read. And I'd say, as far as grading the book, I'd give the book an A. I wouldn't give it an A+, but I'd give the book an A. I'd definitely give the book an A. It's definitely, you kind of get wrapped into reading it. It's one of those, like, even if you're a slower reader, I tend to be a bit of a slower reader, but with this, you're kind of so gripped into it that you end up reading a lot of it. So yeah, that's my review for Stormy Weather, and again, I finished this one now, so what I'll do is I'll take this one to the book exchange and pass it on, spread the story to somebody else that might be interested in reading it. So that's my review for Carl Hiaason's Stormy Weather. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Please come back for more.